Hello beautiful people and welcome to this week's video. So today we are working with the spine, so the postures are all going to be related to the spine, and we're also looking in our Bhagavad Gita at chapter 7, which is about wisdom through realisation. So this is about spiritual wisdom rather than wisdom that you read in books and stuff. And so it's really about, within our yoga practice, it's about really learning by doing, which is what we've been doing, of course. So as you're in your practice, you can just really be trying to really see what you're learning and, really going into the body and experiencing and trying to be a bit less in the mind and more in the present moment with your body. So you might need a couple of little blocks or books like we've got there. But apart from that, all you'll need is your mat. So get your stuff together and I will meet you on the mat. So we're going to start by just bringing ourselves into the moment. So close the eyes or lower the gaze and just bring the attention into the nose, feeling the cool air moving in, warm air moving out, and just being with what is and trying to experience yourself. Fantastic. So we're going to start as we have been with the hands. So spreading the hands as wide as you can and then making big fists. Wide as you can and then really strong fists, and then we're going to do this for about a minute. So just keeping it going, trying to be with what's happening. So we are learning through our experience here. So if it's becoming quite painful, trying to just be with it. If it's really painful, just slow down a bit. But I'm noticing how over the weeks it's become easier for me the more I've been doing it. So just do a few more. Beautiful. And then we're going to stop and open the fists wide, the hands wide. And then relax the fingers and drop the hands down onto the knees. Beautiful. Just being with that for a moment. Lovely. Just experiencing what's happening. So we're going to raise the arms up now, turning the fingers right out as far as you can, hands and fingers, and then all the way back the other way. And then we're going to do this fast, backwards and forwards, keeping the arms really stretched up over the head. So almost feeling like you're pushing through the middle finger to really reaching up. Keeping going. Well done. A few more of these. It's not quite as difficult as the first one. Beautiful. So we'll go for about another 20 seconds. Beautiful. So then we're going to stop, open the hands wide, and then relax the fingers and drop them down onto the knees. Beautiful. Lovely. Well done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come into a wide-legged seat. So I tend to try and have my heels on the mat. So I'm actually sitting on my block slightly off the mat, so that when I bring my feet out, they're on the mat itself. I do that because otherwise it feels a bit uncomfortable for me on my heels. Now, it might be that you can't get anywhere near that. You might be doing that, and that's absolutely fine. So wherever you get to, that's your place, okay? And we're going to start just with hands. You might be on fingertips, whatever. Here, breathing here, and what we're trying to do is to push through, so having the toes coming towards us, pushing through the heel, heels. And so from here, we're going to try and walk the fingers forward. Now, it might be that you can't come very far, and that's absolutely fine. Just come to wherever you can come. And I'm beginning to feel this here, which is what we're looking for, there and also in the spine. So I can feel it a little bit in my lower spine. And then from here, wherever you are, you might be here, wherever you are, from here we're going to drop the weight of the head down. So just really dropping down in the head. And breathing here. So this is a beautiful forward bend, and it's an opening in the tops of the insides of the legs as well, which we're going to be doing something with later. So then we're going to walk the hands round to one side. So I'm now looking over this knee. And again, just dropping the weight of the head down. Beautiful. And you're just doing whatever you can do. We're going to go back over the other way. You'll see that I won't be able to go down nearly so far this side. And that's because my body is really different on that side. So whatever your body is allowing, make that be so. Beautiful. Then we're going to come back through the centre, and we're going to come up to sitting. Beautiful. So gently bring your legs back in, and we're going to come into a child's pose now as a sort of real starting point. Now, if you've got funny knees, child's pose may not be something that you can do, in which case you can do Apanasana, wind releasing pose. So head down on the ground, bring the knees up into the chest, and just give yourself a really good squeeze. And then when you're ready, lift your head up, come into a little ball. Don't stay there for too long if you're doing this. However, if you can do the child's pose, then do that. What I tend to do, because I've got a little bit of a belly, so what I tend to do is to have my knees slightly apart, sit back onto my heels, dropping the head down, forehead down to the floor, and I'm taking my arms out behind. And we're just going to have a couple of breaths here. Just breathing here, just really allowing the spine to stretch out. I can feel this really opening my lower spine, lumbar spine. Really good for that. Fantastic. So then we're going to come up and we're going to come into the cat. So if you need a pad for your knees, make sure that you've got something underneath. My knees are okay at the moment. So I've got my hands just in front of my shoulders. And I'm really being conscious about this, really slow, conscious breathing. Looking forward, breathing in, taking the spine as far as I can to the floor. We're really working with the spine here. Exhaling nice and slowly, so really taking a long time in your different phases of this. Spine all the way to the ceiling. So we're going to do a couple more of these really slowly, trying to really be with what's happening in the spine. And remembering the spine goes all the way up into the head. And then exhale, all the way opening the back of the body. Last time, inhaling, looking forward, taking the spine as low as it will go towards the floor. And then exhaling, spine to the ceiling, really trying to reach the spine up. Beautiful. So we're going to come back to a neutral spine, and then here we're going to take some organic movement. So I'm going to invite you just to do whatever feels good. For me, I feel like I really want to take some movements into my lumbar spine, because that's where I can feel that that's my weak spot, as it were, in my spine. So wherever you feel it in your spine that you think really needs some attention, just really move your body in that area. Beautiful. Wonderful. So if you're enjoying this and you'd like to do it for a bit longer, then pause the video. If not, then we're going to come to a still place again. Now I'm going to ask you to just think about the tops of your feet rooted to the ground and don't let them move. And we're going to move the top of the body, so the hands are going to come off the mat. But if you go like that and you end up with this foot moving over there, you've gone too far. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to do the spine here. So we're curving the spine into a side bend here, trying to keep the tops of the feet in the same position. Beautiful. And then we're just going to come round the other way. So going all the way round the other way. Don't go too far, like I say. Make sure that the feet remain exactly where they are. So you're just taking the spine over. Lovely. And then coming back through. And then from here, we're going to tuck the toes and we're going to rise up into the dog. So spreading the fingers wide, we're going to lift the bottom, but keep the knees nice and bent, coming up into the dog, because what we want this to be is we want it to be a release for the spine, not for the hamstrings. So at the moment we're not thinking about hamstrings. So legs nice and bent, and what we're going to try and do is take all the weight into all the fingers, and then we're going to try and just, as we breathe, exhaling, just dropping the chest further towards the knees. So this becomes a big back bend. Inhaling, coming slightly out of it, and exhale, dropping the chest down again. Couple more of those. Inhaling up, and exhale, dropping the spine. And then from here, we're just going to try and relax if we can, breathing here, letting the head go. Couple more breaths here. Beautiful. And then we're going to walk the hands towards the feet and the feet towards the hands. And we're coming into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So if you haven't got much flexibility in the back, and you are, you feel like this is about the limit to where you can go, then having some blocks underneath you, in whichever place, can really help you to be able to let go of the head and let go without it feeling too much on the back. However, if you're super flexible, which by the way I'm not, but if you are, then you can just try and just drop down, keeping the legs nice and bent, like I say, really dropping down, letting the weight of the head really fall. And even if you have got blocks, just still really trying to drop down, dropping the weight of the head, just letting yourself really be here. And then if you're super, super flexible, you could take your hands behind and maybe bring your feet in a little bit and see if you can take, I can't do it, but see if you can take your hands right behind like this. You might grab the back of your ankles or something. I mean, this isn't something that I do naturally, so for me it's much more better just to hang here. But if that works for you, then that's super. And then from here we're going to do something that I don't normally do, which is that we're going to roll up slowly. I don't normally do this because I was always told it's good to come up with a straight back. But we're going to do this so that we can really witness the spine uncurling and feel all the different places. For me, I really feel it in my low back. So just really feeling all the places as you roll up, the places that you come to. Well done. So you stay where you are, but I'm turning around to face you so you can see me. So once we're up here into our standing pose, we're just going to take a couple of great big curls, turns with the arms. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Big rotations with the arms going backwards, and then the same going forwards, just opening everything up, opening the chest and the armpits and the everything, and the spine of course, which is what we're working with. So then we're just going to come for a moment Just roll the shoulders back. Look down at your feet, make sure they're facing forwards. Let the arms flop. We're just going to have a moment in Tadasana. Standing here, very solid, but very relaxed. Beautiful. Then from here, we're going to try and just do a little bit of balance. So we're going to try and see if we can, so raising the arms and at the same time coming up onto the tiptoes. Seeing if you can come up, how far you can come up, and then gently dropping down with the breath, coming down, back onto your feet. So if you were wobbly there, that's fine. If you need a chair, grab a chair. And we're going to come up again. So coming up onto the tiptoes, arms coming up overhead, and then dropping down, coming back down onto the feet. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to do standing banana pose. So we're going to, not coming up onto the tiptoes, just raising the arms up above the head. So you can see my hands now. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a wrist and I'm going to do a side bend. But if doing that means that you end up with your arms coming forward like this, it's better to have your hands bent out to the side and away from each other, but so that they're coming straight out rather than forwards. Yeah? So trying to have your hands wherever they'll go, where they'll go straight up from here. Taking hold, if you are taking hold of that wrist, doing that, and we're going to bend over to the side and take the hips in the opposite direction. So it's a side bend, but it's a whole side thing for the spine here. I mean, it also stretches the whole side of the body. Here we are. So breathing here. Beautiful. And then we're going to come back up to the top. If you're grabbing hands, do that. If you've got your hands out like that, do that, making sure the elbows are back and coming over to the side. So if you're doing this, it's just the same, but it's just doing what's right for you. Taking the hips out to the other side. Coming into a banana with some leaves here. Just doing what's right for you. And then coming back up to the top. Beautiful. And then we're just going to come down, bring the arms down by the sides. Take a slightly wider stance. And we're just going to take some rotations. Backwards and forwards like this. We're allowing the arms just to drop. Keep the feet still, because what we're doing this for is to just warm our body up to doing a little bit of a twist, the twist in the torso, because we're going to do a little bits of twists in a minute. Lovely. Okay, so from here, I'm going to come to the side again so that you can see what I'm doing. So from here, I'm going to interlace my hands behind the body, taking the hands right down as far as they'll go, and then I'm going to try and bring the hands out. I can't go very far because my shoulders are tight. But then from here, I'm going to take a back bend. So I'm going to look up, press my body forwards, taking a big back bend. That's it. And then coming forward, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going forwards, but I'm coming into a straight back here. So having the arms going up as far as you can, out the back. Beautiful. And then coming up to the top. So I'm going to turn to face you. So you know what we're doing, but I'm going to turn to face you because this time we're going to do it with slightly wider legs. So come to the long edge of your mat. Turn around to the long edge of your mat. Okay, and so we're doing the same thing. So taking the hands behind the body, seeing if you can lift the arms out from behind you, and then take a back bend. So I'm going backwards here, looking up. Nice big back bend here, going as far as you can. Don't crank the neck. And then coming forwards. And again, we're going to go to a flat back. So we're going to a flat back with the arms up behind. And then we're going to let go of the hands and bring them down onto the feet or onto blocks again. If you need blocks, then have the blocks here. Okay, and then from here, we're just going to try and just really relax the body down. So if it's easy for you to take the legs out, you might want to do that, take them out a bit further, only if that works for you. And then just, if your hands come easily onto the legs, do that. Otherwise, have them again in the middle here. You could have them on a block here. Or if it really works for you, you can take your hands out behind and have a little bend in the knee here. Make sure they're not really straight. And again, the same thing, we're dropping forward. Really trying to release that lower spine down. This is where a lot of people have tightness in the lower spine. Wonderful. So from this position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my left foot out, bending this knee so that the knee is over the ankle, turning the left foot out, and actually I'm going to take it towards the back of the mat a bit, turning it out, and then I'm going to turn the right ankle back, but I'm going to step it over to the right a bit so that I'm on train tracks when I'm pointing this way rather than on a tightrope. But then from here, I'm going to bring my left elbow onto my left knee. And then I'm going to, this is the twist, then I'm going to open my arm out. So we're coming into this side angle. And then only if it feels right for you, I'm going to straighten this front leg and come into the triangle. So you might be here, and that's absolutely fine. Just being wherever you are, and then seeing if you can take a look up at the top arm. Beautiful. So then we're going to bend the front knee, come back down, and then we're just going to go over to the other side. So get back into the middle position, turning this right foot, or you might be doing the other one, but whatever. And so I've got my knee over my ankle. Then I'm going to bring this foot over to this side and turning that ankle back. Then I'm going to bring my right elbow onto my right knee. And then from here, bringing this arm up and straightening that leg and just being wherever I am. So we're trying to have this is meant to be a kind of side bend, but it becomes a twist. Certainly for me it does. Looking up at this top arm. Beautiful. So then we're going to come down. Yeah, and I'm going to invite you to come and maybe with your knees slightly apart. I need to fit my little belly in there. And then coming down. And this time we can do it with extended arms. Dropping down, coming into the child. Resting there for a few moments. So we're going to come back up to standing in a minute. So take a moment here and then join me standing on the mat. Okay, so we're beginning standing at the back of the mat. Okay, and we're going to do a little flow of some warriors, which are all really good for the spine. So just taking your Tadasana to begin with to make sure that you're in this nice, solid, equal position. And then we're going to step forward. So I'm stepping forward with the right foot. So stepping forward with the right foot. And then we're getting into that same position that we were in just a moment ago when we were doing the triangle. So we're going to take this back foot out a bit towards the side of the mat and then drop that heel down. Bringing the shoulders forwards. So we're coming into warrior one. So we've got hands down, raising up the arms into warrior one. Breath there. And then on an inhale, we're going to open up into warrior two. So making sure you've got this knee over the ankle, looking over the front arm. Breath there. Then we're going to flip the front palm. And we're going to exhale and come back into reversed warrior, looking up at the top arm. This is a back bend. Then we're going to exhale and coming down, putting that elbow onto that front arm exactly as we were just doing a minute ago, looking up at that top arm, and then exhale, we're going to come back into our triangle like we were doing a moment ago. Beautiful. So bending that front leg to come up, and then finding yourself, I'm going to go to the other side so I'll be in the right place, but finding yourself at the back of the mat again, and we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So inhaling, and as you exhale, stepping the other foot forward, making sure that that back foot is in the right position, dropping that heel down, shoulders facing forwards, inhaling up into warrior one, breath there. Exhaling, or whichever you want to do, into warrior two, breath there. Inhaling up and exhaling over into reversed warrior. Exhaling round and through into side angle, looking up at that top arm, and then inhaling and exhaling out into the triangle. Beautiful. Bending that front knee to come out of it. We're going to do it again in a bit more of a flow, and this time in the only if you want to, in this side angle pose, if you want to see if you can bring this arm over. If you end up with it here, then just keep it up. I've only recently started to be able to bring it above my head and have my side coming out. So just see what works for you. So again, Tadasana. Stepping forward with whichever leg you're doing and getting that back foot into the right position. Inhaling warrior one. Exhaling warrior two. Inhaling reverse warrior. Exhaling down into side angle, and then inhaling out into the triangle. Wonderful. So we'll do it from on the other side. So inhaling, exhaling, and then putting that back foot down. Inhaling warrior one, exhaling warrior two. Inhaling reversed warrior, exhaling side angle. Inhaling triangle. Beautiful, well done. So we'll come down now and do some counter poses. So I'm going to invite you just to come down onto your back and just come into Apanasana with the knees up into the chest. Have a roll around here on the back. Then put the feet down and we'll just do a couple of bridge poses. So inhaling, curling up the tailbones, lifting the hips and dropping back down. And again, inhale, lifting up the hips and dropping down. And then either, so bring the arms out to shoulder height, either just dropping the knees down from here, or if you want to, bringing the knees up into the chest, taking hold of that knee if you want to, and looking over the other way. And then bringing the legs back up over and doing it on the other side. Wonderful. And then just doing whatever your body needs before you come and lay down in Shavasana. So feet about mat width apart, arms down by the side, either side of the body, and let go. So stay here for however long you want. Do make sure you stay here for at least a couple of minutes because it's really good. It's the best. When you've done a practice, it's the best pose of the whole thing. Thank you so much for joining me with this practice. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you are not coming to lessons and you would like to donate to me, the bank details will be in the email. So hopefully see some of you at some point. Namaste.